Okay, so before I begin the actual speech, I'm going to give my own introduction, and I'd like you to interpret that. So let's begin. The speech I'm going to give today took place at the 4th World Conference on Women's Rights. It was a UN-run event held on the 5th of February 1995 in Beijing. And arguably the most significant parts of this 10-day conference took place within the short space of 20 minutes. Hillary Clinton spoke out for women's rights and human rights. She called on the world community to protect women from violence, to improve access to health services and education, and to give them more self-determination. Although Clinton's comments detailed abuses that happened all across the world, such as rape in war-torn Bosnia and the burning of Indian brides whose dowries were too small, her comments had particularly strong implications in China, which had received much criticism due to its implementation of forced abortions and forcing women to undergo sterilizations. This was all parts of China's one-child policy, its efforts to control the size of its population. The Chinese pulled the plug on the broadcast of Clinton's speech. However, Clinton took this as a compliment because for her it was important that the US be represented at the event, and she wanted to make clear that human rights and women's rights were integral to US foreign policy. Now we'll begin her speech. Mrs. Mongella, Under-Secretary Kitani, distinguished guests and delegates, I would like to thank the Secretary General of the United Nations for inviting me to be part of the United Nations 4th World Conference on Women. This is truly a celebration of the contributions women make in every aspect of life. In the home, on the job, in their communities, as mothers, wives, sisters, daughters, learners, workers, citizens, and leaders. It's also a coming together, much the way women come together every day in every country. We come together in fields and in factories, in village markets and supermarkets, in living rooms and boardrooms. Whether it is while playing with our children in the park, or washing clothes in a river, or taking a break at the office water cooler, we come together and talk about our aspirations and concerns. And time and again, our talk turns to our children and our families. However different we may be, there is far more that unites us than divides us. We share a common future. And we are here to find common ground so that we may help bring new dignity and respect to women and girls all over the world. And in doing so, bring new strength and stability to families as well. By gathering in Beijing, we are focusing world attention on issues that matter most in the lives of women and their families. Access to education, healthcare, jobs and credit, the chance to enjoy basic legal and human rights, and participate fully in the political life of their countries. There are some who question the reason for this conference. Let them listen to the voices of women in their homes, neighborhoods and workplaces. There are some who wonder whether the lives of women and girls matter to economic and political progress around the globe. Let them look at the women gathered here, the homemakers, nurses, teachers, lawyers, policymakers, and women who run their own businesses. It is conferences like this that compel governments and people everywhere to listen, look, and face the world's most pressing problems. Wasn't it after the Women's Conference in Nairobi 10 years ago that the world focused for the first time on the crisis of domestic violence? Earlier today, I participated in a World Health Organization forum where government officials, NGOs and individual citizens are working on ways to address the health problems of women and girls. Tomorrow, I will attend a gathering of the United Nations Development Fund for Women. There, the discussion will focus on local and highly successful programs that give hard-working women access to credit so they can improve their own lives and the lives of their families. What we are learning around the world is that if women are healthy and educated, their families will flourish. If women are free from violence, their families will flourish. If women have a chance to work and earn as full and equal partners in society, their families will flourish. And when families flourish, communities and nations will flourish. That is why every woman, every man, every child, and every nation on our planet has a stake in the discussion that takes place here. Over the past 25 years, I have worked persistently on issues relating to women, children, and families. Over the past 2.5 years, I've had the opportunity to learn more about the challenges facing women in my own country and around the world. I've met new mothers in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, who come together regularly in their village to discuss nutrition, family planning, and baby care. I've met working parents in Denmark who talk about the comfort they feel in knowing that their children can be cared for in creative, safe, and nurturing after-school centres. I've met women in South Africa who helped lead the struggle to end apartheid and are now helping to build a new democracy. I've met with the leading women of the Western Hemisphere who are working every day to promote literacy and better healthcare for the children of their countries. I've met women in India and Bangladesh who are taking out small loans to buy milk, cows, rickshaws, thread, and other materials to create a livelihood for themselves and their families. I've met doctors and nurses in Belarus and Ukraine who are trying to keep children alive in the aftermath of Chernobyl. The great challenge of this conference is to give a voice to women everywhere and whose experiences go unnoticed, whose words go unheard.